Hello guys! Today I will replace the wheel bearing on the back of my Wildcat 1000. So let's jump to it right away. So first I will go over the tool you will need to do that job. Of course you will need brand new wheel bearings. This is a 30mm box for the tip of the axle, and it is the same size for that support here, the trolling arm. After that, a 16mm wrench. You will need a 13mm box. How many extension you will need or you will want to use, that's up to you. You will also need a 10mm for the caliper bracket. You will need set of pliers to remove the quarter pin that is holding the nut down there, and I am using some sandpaper. This is 4000 or 400 to clean the tip of the axle before reinstalling everything on. So let's move on with the job. For the axle, you can use a wrench and tap it with a rubber mallet or something. I will use the impact simply because it's faster and it's easier. These are all 13mm, while on the nut side it's 16mm. I will go with the one that I can reach. So they put there you go. Now it will be easier to reach that nut and remove the other bolt. Put the nut back on. Now, only the axle is holding it. Okay, so before starting to push on the bearing, there's a snap ring here you need to remove. If you don't have press, you can hammer out this bearing using, I'm using a box to take it out, And to push the new bearing in, I took a whole bearing and I slightly grind the edge so it fit loose in the spindle, so I'm able to push the new bearing right in. So when you remove snap ring, always put your hand over it because it can fly everywhere in the garage. So now my screwdriver is behind, it can go back. So I will pry it up, and I will be able to take it out slowly without bending it. Like I'm putting my screwdriver underneath and I pry it slowly and it will go out. As you can see, it's not a straight part, so when putting it on the press, I will need to find some shim to put it straight, because the press is pushing straight. So if my spindle is like that and the press pushing straight, I might damage something. The press can slip and break something. Okay guys, I had to support it on both sides, and I changed my plate because I need it underneath here. But now the spindle is straight and the bearing should fit between the two braces here. So let's push it down. Now is that plate that's sitting on the brace. At this point I can just go and hit the side of the box and it will go anyway because the bearing is almost out. We'll just move it on the side a bit. There you go. There you go, I have the bearing in my hand. Okay, so I got my new bearing here. I don't like to push a bearing dry into a cup like that, so I would just take a bit of grease and just so it is not completely dry, you know. Okay, so here obviously I cannot use the box to push on the bearing because it's sitting not on the outside, but it's sitting on the cage here. So if I push on it, I might damage my bearing. So for now, I will just put it there. I will push on my plate, and when my plate will be sitting on there, I will use my grinded bearing. Where it is, it's here, my grinded bearing, to finish job. Just make sure it is straight. After that, you put your plate centered. I already centered this thing with the pin, so it should go in pretty easily. Again, you can hammer this in, but there you go. I will take this out. Put my bearing pusher in there. And go again, and you feel it when it's at the bottom. It doesn't want to go anywhere. So like here, I know it's at the bottom, but just to make sure, I will remove all of it and I will see if I have enough room to put my snap ring back in. If I have room for my snap ring, the bearing, it's at the right position. Okay, so my snap ring is clean. I make sure that the gap is clean as well, so I'm ready to put it back there. So you might not see well because I will put my hand over it because I don't want it to fly in the air. So now I will pack this thing with grease, and you might wonder how you grease this. You need a greaser. You need to buy one of these things here. It's made especially to grease this type of bearings. You have an O-ring so the grease don't go out on the other side, or in that case underneath. The grease getting out by these holes, and it go between the two bearing in there, because I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but there's two bearing in there. So the grease go in the gap between the two bearings, and you will see the grease going out here and here. When it's happening, it's full of grease. You don't need to put any more. It's a bit messy, but it's good for the machine. So there you go. Let's remove this. When you see the grease getting out of the outer skirt of the bearing there as well, you know that your bearing is full of grease. No need to add any more. So now the snap ring is back on. I'm ready to put it back on my Wildcat. Now before reinstalling it, I will clean everything that go in the spindle, like these two tips here and the axle. So there's no dirt, there's nothing that will contaminate it, create rust. As I said, the axle was pretty clean, so I won't bother sanding it, but I will sand this piece here simply because it's a bit dirty. It's simply to remove the rust and whatever it's on it. There you go, like a brand new. I will put the axle on. There you go. Still, it's pretty hard to mess up though, because in the right order, the top right with the top right, the top left with the top left, etc. The only thing you need to be careful of is make sure you put your caliper at the right place, because after all the links are installed, you won't be able to. And I'm installing temporary because even if there was not any, I will put some Loctite on it just for my peace of mind. I put blue Loctite, 243 Loctite, so it's not really strong, but it's strong enough so it won't unscrew with vibration. And I was about to make a mistake. There you go. Yeah, I can put it on the bottom one right now. There you go. sure the caliper is on the right place. There, I got a brand new quarter pin here. There you go. It's always a good thing to inspect your rotor and inspect everything while you have that in your hand. This is in good condition. It's a bit dirty, but there's no problem with that. After that, you put back the washer, and after that, you put the nut. Here, even if you have a hole in the axle, you don't need to put a quarter pin because it's locking with this plate, so it can't unscrew. But if you don't have this plate, you better put a quarter pin in that tip of the axle. Now it fit. Now the only thing left to do is put it back on the disc. It's pretty easy. You just split the pad open. And you align that with the hole. It's closed. It's going right on the tip of that support. And on the other one, so it's just that easy to replace a wheel bearing on the back of this Wildcat 1000. Obviously, it's easier when you have the right tools, but as I said earlier, you can hammer this thing out and in, but just be careful to not break anything. So this is it for now. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified as soon as I will release another video. So on this, I wish everybody a great day and see you later. Bye.